We as human beings can be very flawed creatures that are driven by a variety of things. We all have different motivations and goals that drive us to make the decisions that we do, whether that be love, fear, acceptance, or striving for the greater good for others. When put in a grave situation where humanity is pushed to its limits, when your morals and beliefs are being questioned and put to the test, what will you do to save it? This is a question many of the characters face in Vanillaware's latest game in 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim. Hello everyone, my name is Fedro and this is Cozy Veggie, and on this channel we cover a variety of things such as video essays, reviews, JRPGs, and all things cozy gaming. 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim was developed by Vanillaware and published by Atlus. Released in 2019 in Japan and in 2020 in North America, the game combines elements of visual novels, real-time strategy, and exploration. It's known for its intricate, non-linear narrative and unique storytelling. So I first heard about 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim when I was looking for games to play on my PS4. I just recently bought one and I know that the backlog for JRPGs on the PS4 is completely endless, so I just wanted to figure out where to start. I definitely knew I wanted to pick up, and I did pick up, Tales of Arise, the Kingdom Hearts compilation or collection, Persona 5 Royal, and 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim. So I really actually started playing it around December time of 2021, and I put in about 6 hours into it, and my god, I was hooked. You're instantly put into the story, and a lot of craziness already ensues within the first couple minutes of the game, and I was really enamored by, of course, the beautiful art style and the disjointed storytelling of it all. But of course, for us gamers, this thing happens where you end up dropping a game for a variety of reasons. It's not that I was not enjoying my time with this game, because I clearly was enjoying my time, but life gets in the way, other games came out and released, and that happens. So I kind of forgot about 13 Sentinels until they decided to port the game onto the Switch. And for me, when it comes to gaming, especially JRPGs on the Switch, I tend to burn through those really quickly. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the portability aspect of the Switch and being able to just play it whenever and wherever just seems more accessible to me. I don't know. I feel like when it comes to my console, PC or my PlayStation, my PS5, I had to set aside time to play games on my monitor. But if I have my Switch, I could just be a couch potato and veg out and just put in hours on the couch while I'm on my Switch. I don't know. That's just how my process is. So when the 13 Sentinels got ported onto the Switch, I of course double dipped and bought it again. And then of course what I do, I completely forget about it per usual. And so it wasn't until a whole year later that I decided to pick it up. I was currently in between two marathons of two franchises. I was currently marathoning through Final Fantasy franchise as well as the Trails franchise. And I wanted to have another JRPG just to fill into the gap, to just break up between really intensive games that I don't want to get burnt out. And I finally decided, you know what? Let's pick up 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim again because I have time. It's only about 30 hours in JRPG time. That's pretty small amount of game hours. So I was like, you know what, let's just do it. And all I can say is I honestly regret not playing this game sooner. When I was playing this game back in 2021, I wish I just finished it. Why didn't I just play it back then? But nonetheless, I'm really happy that I got to play it in its entirety, and 13 Sentinels is now one of my favorite games that I've played this year. Definitely in the top 5 for sure. And I honestly wanted to share with you guys my thoughts and feelings about it after playing it. It's been a couple weeks now since I've played it, so I've had time to really sit with my thoughts and marinate on it and see how I really feel about it. What really drew me into this game was how it's based in the sci-fi genre. In JRPGs, sci-fi isn't a very popular genre. I'm not saying that it's not common, but more often it's either taken in a modern day or in a medieval setting. 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim is a homage to all the old sci-fi movies and TV shows that were popular at the time, but with a modern take, told in a pretty unorthodox way as we follow 13 high school students who try to figure out what is reality and what is not, and how they can save humanity. The narrative is divided into different character perspectives, with players jumping between them to uncover the full story. Each character has their own unique abilities and perspectives on events. So what makes 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim so unique and different from other JRPGs is the disjointed storytelling and non-linear narrative that it has. What's really cool about it is that you're literally told the game in different perspectives all at different times all at once, kind of, if that makes any sense. So what happens is like you'll play a certain character, get their experience and story and explore the game, and then at a certain point it kind of stops you, and then you're forced to then learn a story about, or learn the story through another perspective, through a different character. And what I like about this kind of way of storytelling is that you're honestly on the edge of your seat the whole time, because as much as you get more about the story from this character, it stops you. You're like, oh no, I want to know more, but then it keeps, and then you go on to another character and you find out a little bit more. And what's really cool is that there's so many plot twists in this game. There's so many epiphanies that happen while I was playing it. You'll be playing through a certain character's route, and then you find out a little bit tidbit of the story as to why they're there, what's happening. And then you go to a different person's perspective, and then you get more answers that were pretty much questions from the previous or the another person's route, which is genius. It can be kind of convoluted at times, but honestly, I was just like, oh my God, so this makes sense as to why this person is doing this and why they're there. Or no, this other route needs this information to help make this person understand what's happening. It just like, there's so many times I'm just like, oh, just so many things were happening, and it just made me so excited to just want to know more, and it just kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time, and it just caught me enticed and engaged throughout the story, throughout the whole way through. The game is filled with mysteries, conspiracies, and plot twists. Players must piece together the puzzle by exploring different storylines and making choices that affect the outcome. 13 Sentinels dials into the personal struggles and relationships of its characters, making it a character-driven narrative with strong focus on human drama. While I was playing the game, it covered a variety of themes such as love, flaws of humanity, greed, and desire. Like I mentioned earlier, we as humans are a very flawed species that have many things that drive us to make the decisions we make. What I noticed while playing 13 Sentinels is how love is such a prevalent theme throughout the entirety of this game. Many of the characters' main motives were driven out of the love of others. Love is a strong emotion that can be so overwhelming and all-consuming and even blinding. We can be so tunnel vision when we love someone and can push us over the edge because this love that we have for said person is so powerful. Many say that love can drive us to do crazy things, whether we try to fight for the ones we care so deeply about or risk our own livelihood for our loved ones. Love can be amazing and terrifying all at once. However, when not reciprocated or mistreated, love can also lead to destruction. Also, greed, desire, and pride were common themes that were present in 13 Sentinels. Since we're following 13 different protagonists, of course many of them may have succumbed to their own desires to fulfill their own needs. In turn, this may lead to others getting the short end of the stick. So again, like I mentioned, we as humans are very flawed creatures. We're not perfect, and we kind of fall into our own morals and our beliefs or greeds and desires. And I feel like this was definitely explored in 13 Sentinels. There were definitely characters that definitely had certain motives as to why the world is at the state that it's in and what they are doing to prevent or solve or maybe even help cause the catastrophe that's going to happen. I don't even know if I mentioned this. I don't want to put spoilers in this game, in this review, and I don't think I'm spoiling anything, but there are a lot of characters in this game that were doing things that honestly probably weren't morally or ethically right, but because they were so compelled by honestly love and greed and desire for certain things, they were willing to forbode. Is that the right word I'm looking for? Forbode? I don't think that's the right word, but you know what I mean. Trying to forbode all the right things to do or what was morally right because that's what they wanted to, like, that's what they desired. And you definitely felt for these characters because you kind of understand where they're coming from, but at the end of the day, it's, are you willing to do what you want to do for your safety and your safety and your well-being, or you want to, you know, sacrifice a few things for the greater good of humanity? And I feel like these are questions that were definitely, or themes that were definitely explored in this game that I thought were really intriguing, especially love. Love was such a common thing. Of course, romantic love was there, and platonic and friendship and familiar love was explored in this game, but the way that love can drive us to do a wide variety of things, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. It really all comes down to the person, right? However, having flaws isn't always a bad thing. It is believed that human beings are flawed, constrained, and limited. But to be a decent human is to strive with and overcome these constraints. By using the power of love and friendship, we may overcome any obstacle put in our way. When we come together for a common goal. Now, of course, I gotta mention the amount of characters that we have in this game. 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim references to the 13 characters that we play in this game. With this cast of characters, you're bound to find someone that you resonate with or love or want to root for, and some that you kind of don't care for. I definitely had my characters that I was definitely excited to know more about their experiences and their walkthrough and route. My favorites were Natsumi, Kentaro Miura, Takatoshi Hijiyama. Is that his name? Yeah. Takatoshi Hijiyama, which is our yakisoba pan man. We love him. And his love for yakisoba pan, and of course our non-binary representation in Tsukusa Okino, who I also love, who's a very snarky character that I just loved as well, even though they, I guess this might be a little bit spoiler, wasn't that super prevalent in this, like, no, they're pretty prevalent in the story. What am I talking about? They're pretty prevalent in the story, and that's all I'm going to say. But either way, all the casts and characters in this game were really intriguing, all had their own beliefs, their motives, and goals that they wanted to reach at the end of this game, which I honestly loved seeing, especially how they grew from the very beginning and how they ended up at the end of the game. Also, we gotta mention the incredible art direction of this game. Vanillaware is notorious for their impeccable art style. You can see their games amongst the sea of JRPGs and they automatically stand out. With such beautiful painterly art style and hand-drawn 2D animation, it can leave many players speechless. And I was one of those players. When I first heard about Vanillaware and their games, I was honestly just floored at how stunning the visuals in this game was, or is. It's just honestly impeccable. There were so many instances where I was just taking pictures of this game because it was just so stunning and beautiful, and I took a lot of pictures of like the character profiles because they just look so beautiful. Like, I am so glad that they took this route. They decide this is like their art style that they've stuck with throughout their games throughout history. They're just impeccable. They're stunning. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. They're chef's kiss. Like, it's giving. It's very much giving, and I'm here for it, and I want more, and I cannot wait to play other games through Vanillaware because this art style is something unseen in other games for sure. And also I want to say, George Kamitami, you are a legend. Thank you so much for blessing us with your art. We are not worthy, but we just want to say thank you for giving us your beautiful, beautiful artwork. Of course, I gotta talk about the gameplay of this game. This game is split into 3 major sections. Analysis, which is essentially a deep dive of all the happenings going on in the game. If you feel a little lost or overwhelmed, because there are times when this game can get pretty complicated, going into analysis section explains more about the characters, locations, and events happening in the game. Remembrance is where the story takes place. You as the player get to adventure out and explore what's happening in the game in real time. And lastly, we have destruction. In this mode, this is where the actual gameplay and action takes place. It should be known that the strategic or tactical RPG elements of this game are not at the forefront. I believe it's a visual novel first and gameplay second. So if you want some intensive gameplay and not much of a reader, then this game may not be for you. Now for me, I prioritize story over everything. When it comes to games, the story, the plot, the characters, themes, they have to be there. They have to hit. They have to be, I mean, they don't have to be amazing, but they have to be engaging enough for me to want to play the game. Because if the characters and the story and the themes and the plot are not there, then I'm not really compelled to continue the game. Even if the gameplay and the combat is top-notch, top tier, but if that story is lacking, I'm not gonna, either I'm gonna drop it or I'm gonna play it, but I'm not gonna have enjoy my time. For me, this is my priority, and I know this may not be a common agreement for other players who play video games, so I am aware. But what's really interesting about the combat in 13 Sentinels is that each player has a different type of combat style when it comes to the actual tactical combat. So there's different types of combats. You have long range aerial combat, melee combat. Of course, we have all-rounders who are pretty much essentially good at all of those types of form of combat. So it's really imperative that you choose the right players or the right characters to bring to each battle, because each battle will have a certain type of elements that will help you have a better advantage and succeeding in the battle. So again, like I mentioned before, the gameplay is not at the forefront, and I noticed a lot of people may have not knew that going into this game. So it's definitely much heavy on the narrative, light on the combat, so keep that in mind when you do go into this game. Players are urged to investigate the world's mysteries and learn the truth behind the characters' experiences and approaching the end of the world in the challenging, narrative-driven experience known as 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim. It has won praise from critics for its narrative, visual appeal, and distinctive fusion of gameplay motifs. So my overall thoughts of 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim is that it's a very complex narrative-driven story with really beautiful, immersive art style and really great characters that go along with it. I understand that this may not be everyone's cup of tea because it's very heavy on the narrative, but I'm here for a really good complex story that can keep me engaged and wanting to know what happens next. If you guys thought that anything in this review seemed interesting and you want to pick it up, you can check out 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim on the Switch as well as PS4 and PS5. And if you guys enjoyed this video, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Bye!